recording. But happy Friday to you. Just as usual, sitting in a bit of traffic, so I said I'd come on, have a little chat to you guys. Today is the day when we have Trump's crypto summit. So it's going to be some interesting news. Let's see if we get some price volatility around that news. Today I just wanted to chat to you a little bit about a concept that really served me well, and until I understood it, I was always digging my heels in. I could never make progress, and fortunately enough, when I was younger, almost 20 years ago, I got a great coach, and he made me aware of it, and I've never looked back since. Although I had to relearn the lesson, and I do relearn the lesson. Make sure you hit the like button and try and push this content out there. Bitcoin With Dinny is Ireland's first Bitcoin consulting company. We help people to understand Bitcoin in a really simple way. We help them to store their Bitcoin in a really secure way, so that no matter what they do or don't do, they can't lose it to any of the ways that you can lose it. And we also help people to understand how to build a pension around Bitcoin so that they can retire early. Louise Hay has, and this is kind of what the video is about, but I just came up to a junction there, and it's just like there's no cars in the middle of town. I'm like, Louise Hay is a thing like that. You can make green lights come to you, and you can make parking spots become available by just expecting them to be there. Kind of woo-woo, but funny nonetheless, and funny, even more funny when it actually works. But here's the thing: when you go down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, we talked about this a little bit last night in Retire Early Club. We had a great discussion last night in Retire Early Club. We've 400 people in Retire Early Club, so we have a huge community. We had a live call last night, and we have open discussion on current market dynamics and strategies, and one of the guys was pitching a strategy to us, and everyone gives their 2 cents, and obviously with the brains of that many people, we can make much better decisions. But one of the things that we're talking about, or the points I was making, is when you're trying to accumulate Bitcoin, you have the do you sell everything and just have a bed and sacrifice your present moment to have a better future? Because that can become the Bitcoin mantra when people become too much of a Bitcoiner. It's like, no, nothing is worth what Bitcoin is worth, so you shouldn't have anything. You shouldn't prioritize any form of current life. Just put everything into Bitcoin and defer your gratification forever. I think there's a fine balance there, and that's what I'm sort of going to talk to you about, so I can just share my experience. The first thing is that, and I'll just give my story. When I was struggling financially, or coming up and starting my business, financially I was very poor. I was living in a caravan, so I had nothing, or very little. And I chose to sacrifice almost 100%, in that I only had the bed, and I invested everything not into Bitcoin, but into educating myself so I could become better in business. So I did sacrifice the present moment. While my friends were all going out and partying, I was working on my business. While my friends were renting nice apartments, I was living in my caravan. Okay, so there's different times in your life when you can or can't do it. There's no this is how you do it and this is not how to do it. Everything is about where you are and what you want. So it's very much a subjective decision, as opposed to there's an objective way to do this. So for me, I chose, right, I'm going to put my head down for 10 years because I love surfing and I want to have free time. I want to be able to go surfing whenever I want. And I hate the fact that I'm looking at the surf forecast now, and there's an amazing forecast, deadly waves, and I'm stuck in work in a 9 to 5 and I can't leave. So I want to build my life in such a way. So I'm going to sacrifice a decade so that I have many decades, please God, free and available to do what I want when I want. All right? And that's what I done. But one of the things, one of the best things that I learned was the positivity diet, because I found the same opportunities always exist. But some people seem to get all the luck, and some people seem to get all the opportunities, and other people find all the bad luck and never any opportunities, and life is just against them. And that was me, back living in a mobile home. I had so much victim mentality that I just brought any shit that was out there was coming to me. I was sucking it out of the universe and demanding that it fall on my doorstep. Okay, because my mindset was wrong. Everything was the negative. I seen the negative of everything. I seen the problems in everything. And I still struggle with this. And I was put on what was called a positivity diet. And I had to, in my circle of friends, anyone who, seemed to bring negativity, I had to just cut them off. Had to unfriend people. Had to leave WhatsApp groups. And I'd done all this, and it was a sacrifice. But by Jesus, did it pay off. Okay? Because I just found now, there's not as much negativity coming at me. There's positive stuff, so I'm seeing the good stuff, and I'm seeing more opportunities. So I'd urge you, go on a positivity diet. Okay? Maybe you have to do it from yourself. Because I had to do that as well. But I find this, especially in Bitcoin people, because a lot of the earlier Bitcoiners are very conspiracy minded. So therefore, everything's against you. All right? And like, there's some Bitcoiners, and I just don't like talking to them because they just see the worst in everything. And for me, it's difficult because some people can probably be exposed to negativity and it doesn't get into them. But for me, I don't know, it has an effect on me. If I'm watching negative stuff, it makes me feel down. It affects my mood. It gets in on me. And I'd argue everyone is the same, whether you think it or not. If you're exposing yourself to negativity, basically, if you're exposing something to toxicity, it's going to have an effect on it. Eventually, if you're eating toxic food, eventually it's going to kill you. That's not rocket science. It's just really basic physiology, I guess. So for me, it's like I try and go on my positivity diet, and that meant immersing myself into, I mentioned Louise Hay earlier. What was her book even called? Jeez, I read it 20 years ago. Something love everything, something like that. Someone could tell me in the comments. But basically, exposing myself to all this self-development and working on myself. I'm working through all the jealousy, all the fear, the fear of putting yourself out there. Like, anyone who puts themselves out there is going to get a world of hate. And that was something, as my channel grows now, I get more and more hate off people. And you imagine this, hands up here if you wake up in the morning and once you get your shit together, you check your social media notifications. But what if, you probably don't have this, but what if they're all like, you're an absolute scammer, you're full of crap, and you've just all this stuff up, like, hold on, this is not, I can't deal with this. So my policy around that is just block, 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 block. So there's literally thousands of people who their comments are never seen on my channel. Okay, they're every day writing them, thinking they're causing hurt, because they don't know they're blocked, because the social medias allow people to post their comments and they see it and they think they're great and they get validated, but nobody else sees it. And that's the policy of just extracting the negativity. I don't want to argue. There's no point in arguing. If someone has a genuine question, I'll address it and work through it. But I don't owe, you don't owe anyone anything. If you're putting out free information, no one's paying you. I don't have to educate anybody. All right. So if they're more of a burden, you just get rid of them out of your life. And that's the keeping the negativity away. And it's the best way. It's the only way to be successful. Because if you're allowing the negativity in, it's just going to slow you down. Because what are you going to worry about? Who's going to write the next comment? Oh, how are you going to reply to it? So you don't put yourself out there. So guess what? You say small, like the person who's writing the comment. They're jealous because you're doing something that they're not brave enough to do. And that's why they want to pull you back. Come back to my level. I'm afraid to do what you're doing. So come back. And I'm just giving the example on social media, but it happens in all walks of life. And even our friends and family do this. And it's not because they're evil. It's just that us as humans, we're programmed to not want change. If someone is changing, all right, and the person they are, and they're changing into someone different, okay, someone who hasn't worked on their personal development, if that's someone in their network, and they haven't worked on their own personal development, they'll try and pull them back. They will not want them to change. Because change is fear. We don't like change. We like things to stay as they are. Okay? So if someone is making progress, we'll be like, no, I don't like that. So I'm just going to, tiny little nitpicks here, nitpick there, just because I know it's just going to pull you back into line of the way you always are and the way I want you to be. But in life, I believe my motto when I ran a fitness business, and it was on all the on all our clothing, was #progress. And I think for me, life is fulfilling when you're progressing at things, when you're learning things, when you're putting yourself out there and doing new skills and trying to learn new things. That's why I have 1 million hobbies, and in the future, please God, I'll be able to start 1 million more. Learn and grow and put yourself out there and be bad at something and don't be afraid to be criticized. and want to learn and grow and get better at it. And this is how we progress. And this is the investor mindset, okay? Because the investor makes mistakes. The novice or the person with the bad mindset, just like, tell me everything, I never want to make a mistake, you do it for me. And they never learn. They miss the opportunity to learn how the free market works. And you guys who understand macro and everything, and you understand Austrian economics, okay, versus Keynesian economics, you understand free market dynamics. The free market learns by market signals. Market signals are basically successes and failures. That's what creates a market, is that you have to allow the market to make mistakes. You have to allow the market to fail. That's what creates an optimized market, is those market signals. And you as a person, or us as a person, are exactly the same. We only learn from our mistakes. We don't really learn the lesson from our success. And you know, I've seen this. To give an example, a friend of mine had created a fitness business, and it was around the current niche. Okay, and this niche got really popular all over social media, and everybody was doing it. And he created studios, pop, a load of studios. His marketing was cat. The trainers he had were terrible. There was no community in the place. But he'd spent a shitload of money on it. Okay, and he just got lucky on a trend. But then when that trend fizzled out, the business went belly up and went bankrupted him. Okay, because he'd never served his time. He'd never made the mistakes. He'd never done years and years and years of a small business, getting market signals, understanding what works, understanding proof of work. He had the easy way to fame, and then it failed drastically. And that's the thing. The failures are the lessons. The failures are what we need, and that's why it's not be afraid to fail, not be afraid what others will think of you, but at the same time, you don't need to allow negativity. You don't need to allow people to constantly be criticizing you. I don't think it's positive. For me, I could never have succeeded if I was allowed the negativity diet, because it was making me more negative, making me see the bad in everything. And it was only when I cut those people out of my life and I worked on myself, everything started to change. Loving What Is, that's the book, Kevin O'Donnell, fair play. Another great one is Loving What Is. Loving What Is Katie Byron, I think. Loving What Is Katie Byron, yeah. Louise Hay's book is something different. I can't remember it. If you Google it, you'll get it. I could be confused. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going into the tunnel now, so I better jump off. Total woo-woo video, but just sharing a bit of Friday love. Hope you have a good day. Hope you have a super day. You're in the right place at the right time. If you're investing in Bitcoin, guys, come on. It's like buying property in Dublin in the 80s. All you got to do is accumulate it and do nothing. Life's going to be kind to you. Right,